Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's session of NRAI's Insider's Guide to F&B, powered by Pet Puja. I'm Gauri Devidyal, a Mumbai-based restaurateur and co-founder of the Food Matters Group, which includes restaurants such as The Table and Mac Street Cafe. I'm also the Joint Secretary at the NRAI, and I will be moderating the session today. To give you some background behind the NRAI Insider's Guide to F&B powered by Pet Puja, it's an exclusive 12-event series focusing on everything one needs to know about the various aspects of running F&B businesses, and for what will hopefully help each one in becoming a pro restaurateur. As part of this series, NRAI will be conducting regular knowledge sessions. So please stay tuned on social media handles of NRAI for updates. Today's session is the seventh one in the series, and it's about how to make the most of data and analytics available to us through our POS systems to extract insights and drive decisions leading to the restaurant's growth. Our first speaker is Subradeep Bhaumik, director and founder of Auntie Fungs, an Asian street food brand. He is an electronics engineer and MBA by qualification and a foodie by passion, and always wanted to be an entrepreneur after gaining some corporate experience. So, after working in some of the leading MNCs like General Electric and Johnson & Johnson for 7 years, he quit his job and took the plunge into the world of food entrepreneurship. Auntie Fungs was born in March 2015 in Bangalore with a vision to be the face of Asian street food in India in a quick service, affordable format. Today, the brand has 12 stores, which is a mix of cloud kitchens and offline, and it's spread across Bangalore and Gurgaon. Their immediate goal is to take the brand to 50 stores across 4 cities in the next 2 to 3 years. Our second speaker today is Ms. Heli Gandhi, who is the Key Accounts Manager at Pet Puja. She provides round the clock services and solutions with her exceptional problem solving and communication skills. She leads the team and looks after Pet Puja's premium clients. With more than 7 years of experience in B2B telecom and food tech companies, Heli is highly oriented towards customers, product, and team building. The speakers will take up questions after they are done with their presentations, so please feel free to write your questions in the comments section throughout the session, and we'll be sure to take them up at the end. Over to you, Subro.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Gauri, for the introduction. So let me just share my screen and then we are good to go. My screen is visible to all of you? Okay. Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, NRAI and Pet Puja, for giving me the opportunity to share some of the insights or the learnings which I have gathered over the last 8 years of running Auntie Fungs, a brand on Asian food present in Bangalore and Gurgaon. And the discussion point today is about understanding POS analytics or understanding data. It sounds like a very fancy English thing, but I think I'm sure all of us are doing it day in and day out. What I'm going to share in the next 15 odd minutes is how do we as a team in Auntie Fungs try to analyze the data and make meaningful insight so that we are able to drive the teams with clear-cut actionable points. Because data is there, but how do you take insight out of it to make business decision? I think that's the critical thing. And that's what in the next 15 odd minutes I will share based on my learning of the last 8 years. To start with, to set the context, data is the new oil. This was a phrase, a statement made by Clive Humby, a very famous British mathematician in 2006. And it cannot be more true than this. I mean, we all know the importance of oil to the economy. I mean, oil is the lifeline, right? Whenever a crude oil price fluctuating has a direct impact on every economy. Similarly, I think for any consumer business, whether it is an FMCG company, a D2C company, or food F&B industry like ours, I think data drives a lot of the decision making. It ideally should. And hence I thought it's a nice way to start with this fantastic and powerful statement: data is the new oil. So, what do we mean by data? There is data all around. In fact, I feel that there is too much of data all around. Even our business, I think, starting from sales for a multi store brand, there's store level sales, you have item level sales, you have uh, the bestseller sales data, the bottom tail item sales data. So, there can be hundreds of cuts on the different sales data that you have. On the cost front also, there are a whole bunch of elements, whether it's a food cost, whether it is staff cost, rent as a percentage. There are enough and more matrices around that. Then you have a lot of data cuts around customers. But but there's a challenge to so much of data and which is floating all around. One challenge is there is no common platform from where we can extract everything. Can I get all the data, whatever I've listed down here? This is also not exhaustive, just a symbolic representation. Do we have one common platform for all the data points? No, we don't have. And the second is, what do I do with this data? I have so much of data, but how can I make it more meaningful? How can I make decision making more sharper and faster and more scientific by using some of these data? And for that, I think the first step should be to kind of zoom out and think and remove the clutter from so much of data, to uh, put it into clear buckets. And that's what we have been doing here. And it just helps as founders when you are sucked into so many other operational things as founders or as business owners or leadership people running large enterprises. How can we carve out these data into simple buckets and then make actionable points based on the data analysis? So what we do here, and in fact, so in any business for that matter, any consumer business can be bucketed into three segments: customer, who is at the core of everything, the epicenter. On one side you have the revenue side of the numbers, and on the other side all the expenses, all the cost related things. So any business can be bucketed into three. Our industry, food F&B, is no exception. So we need to bucket the sector, all the data points that we are capturing day in and day out, into three buckets, and then arrive at what are the critical data points in these individual buckets which will have the maximum impact on my business in the fastest possible time. There will be some data points which can have an impact probably in the long run in 12 months. Do I take this up immediately today after the call, or we do it after 3 months, after 2 quarters? So our my advice or our learning has been that whatever has the maximum impact in the fastest possible time, we first tackle those, see the success, taste the success of some of those initiatives, and then move to the next step. Now let's go deep on the individual three buckets. To start with, customer. Yes, we all know customer is the epicenter of the business. Customer is king in our industry. That's what we always say. Customer is always right, and so on and so forth. But what are some of the data from a customer aspect that we need to analyze? One critical thing is in this business, whether you are a cloud kitchen brand running predominantly deliveries through Swiggy, Zomato, or a dine-in heavy brand, the cut between repeat customers and new customer. Is my new customer growing, or is my repeat customer growing? If my repeat customer is growing, are they? What is the growth at a monthly level? What is the growth at a quarterly level? All the data cuts around that. And I think this is, and there's a reason why I want to start with this. While customer data is probably the most difficult thing, in dining you still get all the data. In deliveries, in the aggregator platforms, you don't, but you have to ask for it. And I'll share what are some of the learnings that we do it from here at Antifunks. But building your decision making based on customer data is like building your body immunity. I mean, and that cannot happen overnight, but it will give. I mean, one is I can grow my sales by doing a tactical promotion, by running an aggressive offer on Swiggy, Zomato, or doing some heavy ATL marketing. But if to grow my repeat customers or grow my is something more fundamental. It's like building the body immunity. New customers, yes, it's important, but still, if it also depends upon the real estate. If my outlet is in front of a railway station or a busy bus stand, I will get truckloads of new customers every day. But what is my repeat? And I think that the repeat will drive the long term longevity of the brand. So something to share, like this table which you can see, this is the actual data, a weekly data of one of our store of anti-function here in Bangalore. And if you just go deep, and this is a data which we get from the aggregators. Obviously we were not getting initially, we had to push and push, and then finally we've started getting it on a weekly basis, or once in every 10 days. So you can clearly see that, okay, these 813 users transacted, new users were 424, balance was repeat. What were the menu sessions, from which menu sessions, how many orders got completed, and then my new versus repeat percentage. Location by location, store by store, these numbers will vary. But the importance of why I wanted to start the presentation with this data bucket is to instill the importance that this is critical. In the long run, if my repeat is not good, which means people are not coming back because of my food, I may have the coolest of the mobile app or the best of marketing promo, but those are not sustainable. They need to come back for some of the basic fundamental things, for your product consistency, for the standardized consumer experience, and so on and so forth. And hence, that's the importance of this consumer data cut. Second, within the consumer bucket, another is feedback data. We all capture feedback. Some people will love our food, some people will not like our food, because food is extremely personalized. This starting from the spice level to the flavor, so on and so forth. But how are we collating all the data and plowing it back in our weekly business meetings, analyzing reviews? Are we bucketing the reviews on how many complaints came related to portions, how many related to taste, and how many related to other operational matters? So feedback data, are we capturing in a structured way and actioning on it? So these are two key points within the customer bucket which I wanted to highlight. So one is around new versus repeat and all the trend analysis around that, and second is the feedback data, whether it is store level, item level, complaints, bucketing it into different groups and actioning on it. Post the consumer, let's go to the next, something which is close to the heart of all of us, obviously revenues, and we all know we do, that's the starting point of all the number crunching. So what are we doing on that? Yes, we analyze monthly revenue. Are we analyzing weekday versus weekend trends? Are we analyzing channel level? I think this is very, very critical, that yes, dine-in is growing but delivery is not, and the treatment of a dine-in growth versus a delivery growth is very different. Our action points need to be very different. If delivery is not growing, then we have to go back to all some of the customer related data which I've shared in the previous slide, or maybe the funnel data, whether the listing to menu, menu to cart, cart to order, all those funnels, how is it behaving in Swiggy, Zomato? Now within the aggregator bit, Swiggy behaves in a particular way, Zomato behaves in a particular way, a Thrive, which is or a dot pay, will behave in a different way. So going deep on the channel level things. And second comes all the item level sales. Every brand will have some best sellers, but what is the contribution of the bestseller in my larger overall top line? Is that contribution growing? Because our menu may have 30 items, 40 items, 50 items, but it is those 4 or 5 bestsellers which will help you build the brand. Like for us, a Burmese khao or a Korean ramen, these are some of our star dishes. And one endeavor for me and my co-founder is always that, is the bestseller contribution growing? Many months it won't, but as the decision makers, as the business owners, we always need to work towards that, because that's what will create a niche for you in the consumer mind, and that's critical. And every restaurant brand will have some laggard items. So how are we tackling that? Is the same set of items coming in the bottom tail? And then we go deep to see whether is the issue with the recipe, or is there issue with something else. So if an item is constantly coming in the bottom tail, is there a product market fit issue for those set of items? So those are things around the item sales. So one is on the overall sales, all item put together, based on channel level, week, hourly level, and so on and so forth. And second is the item level thing. So that's on the revenue side. The third bucket is around expense. Again, a very, very critical bucket, but many a times it gets neglected till the time it becomes really burning, and all of a sudden we realize, oh God, we have really ignored this part. Now, because finally you may have the right product market fit, doing very healthy revenue, customers are loving it and coming back. But if you're not keeping a third eye always on the cost bucket, it will bite us really bad. Now, within the expenses, within the cost bucket, I want to start purposely with the discounting and not with the food cost. Discount more so becomes all the more relevant if you are in a delivery business where you have to run those discount promos to uh, ensure that the algorithm of these aggregators pushes you up. But are we analyzing discounts on a weekly basis? There are different coupon codes in Swiggy and Zomato. What is the coupon code level redemption? If I pull back a particular code, how much will my top line come down? Are we analyzing those data? Even store wise, the discount redemptions vary. I mean, we are in Bangalore. I know Indiranagar behaves very differently when it in discount coupon codes compared to a Marathalli. Marathalli behaves very differently from a Belandur. So on. So are we going deep and analyzing that? Second, food cost. All of us know that yes, food cost is very, very critical. But what are we trying to do? Are we tracking the inventory dashboard in whatever rudimentary way it is on a daily basis or on a weekly basis? Weekly basis, variance analysis. There is a particular recipe, and hence there's a theoretical food cost. Where are we on the actuals compared to the theoretical food cost? Are we tracking that on a weekly basis? Because unless we have the data point, we will not be able to train the team or push the team. The third cost bucket, again, more so relevant from a delivery business, is the aggregator related expenses. And aggregators, their accounting, the way they share the statement of accounts and everything, it's extremely convoluted, and many a times it really complicates life. And we as restaurant owners may not be our biggest strength, but we need to have a backend system in place through technology or build the team that all the aggregator expenses are properly tracked. If there is any delta from the contract signed, we should be in a position to go back to them immediately. That there has been some ad hoc deduction, additional deductions, and fight for it. But it's we are all of us are learning this, and it is complicated and not something which is our core forte, but we should not ignore it. And finally, the marketing spends. We all of us spend a lot of money on marketing, whether it is, but are we analyzing what is the channel level ROI of different of our ad spends, whether it is uh, CPC ads in Swiggy, Zomato, or the local store marketing, all the BTL initiatives, or some of us do ATLs. So what are we getting the right ROI, and try and link it back if you have spent one example between point number 3 and point number 4. CPC ads we are running in Swiggy Zomato. We also have how many new customers Swiggy Zomato has given. So is that growing? Is if I increase my ads, will my new customer grow? If I reduce my ads, will my new customer acquisition come down drastically? So you can link the CPC ad spends with this new customer, repeat customer bucket. So that's the thing around expenses. So 4 critical things within the larger expense umbrella: discount, food cost, aggregator spends, and marketing. So we've covered all the 3 blocks. Now let me share one learning which as to how we learned it the hard way, but we were able to resolve it doing a thorough root cause analysis. So one of our store sale, which is one of our top performing store in Bangalore, the sale was going down. For 3 consecutive months, one full quarter, it went down. One month we realized, okay, there was some seasonal issue, but it continued for the when it continued for the third month, we realized there's an issue. So when we started going deep, repeat customers started coming down, and when we further went deep, we realized that okay, there are a lot of complaints on some of our hero products, and that's when the alarm bells rang. So when going further deep, we saw that the actual food cost is actually less than the theoretical food cost, which means if I'm supposed to give X gram of chicken, just giving a random example of chicken, it's actually going X minus delta. So what exactly is the issue? Actually, the issue was not on chicken, but it's on some of the sauces. In fact, some coconut milk-based dishes, which is one of our top-selling category. And when we went deep further, we realized that the dilution of the coconut milk, what it should be as per recipe, that got changed. So if you see the entire flow chart, so it started from sale going down, but finally we realized the diagnosis came to that the dilution of coconut milk was not what it should have been. So the correction was obviously around course correcting the recipe and then team training. And we saw the hero product sale going up, complaints coming down, and obviously the store also bounced back. So this was an actual situation which I had to go through about a year back, and thought of sharing it with all of you today. Well, to end, that's it from my end. So way forward, I think we have all the data, but we need to work towards a situation that we have everything at one place. Till today, it's still not there, but we need to leverage technology as much as possible to build a framework that all the data is in one place, or max 80% of the critical data is in one place. And that's where I think technology plays a big role. All of us, a lot of us are not from the tech background, but we are superb in running restaurant operations. But we should build a team so that, and have the backend infrastructure in place, that we get all the data at one place as much as possible. And for that, companies like Paid Puja definitely helps us in a big way. Like, they have a lot of ready-made off-the-shelf products, which is just plug and play, and very at reasonable rates. And please don't consider these as expenses; these are actual investments. And wherever there you don't have a Paid Puja thing, they will have API level integration with a lot of other ecosystem partners, so that we have a overall ecosystem of technology which is giving us a lot of data at click of a mouse, and start analyzing data to drive decision making. So that's it from my end. uh, Over to Haley for the next set of discussions, and then happy to answer any question.
Hi everyone, very good afternoon. Uh, is are my slides visible now? Okay, thank you. So, a very good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, Gauri, for the wonderful introduction, and thank you for moderating this session today. And thank you, Shubhradeep, for sharing these insights. I'm sure these are some secret tips that you are sharing with all our restaurant owners who would want to focus on their passion, and maybe something that could help them figure out some or the other issues that they must be facing. So thank you so much for sharing those insights with us. I will quickly try and start. So while there are a lot of things that has already been covered by Shubhradeep, I would want to focus on one or two things maybe to keep it really crisp. First of all, yes, of course, I would want to introduce about what is Paid Puja for all those who are not aware about what Paid Puja does. Paid Puja is a restaurant management software powering more than 55,000 restaurants all across India, and we've now moved towards the international market as well. Basically, Paid Puja is your partner in automating your daily tasks, allowing you to focus on your passion, basically, which is like creating memorable dine-in experience for your customers. And beyond that, it empowers you to make strategic decisions for your particular business. uh, so while I think I would want to focus on two major things out of, I think Shubhradeep has rightly mentioned that there are three broad categories. Out of the three broad categories, I would want to focus on two subcategories that he has mentioned about. One of which would be menu engineering and data analysis. While menu is a core part of any restaurant owner, because that's something directly linked to when customers walk in, or maybe when customer is ordering something. So there are a lot of data points that we would want to focus on. We put a lot of efforts on curating the menu at the first time, but I'm not really sure if we are able to put that effort to analyze, looking at the report, that this particular product is working best for me, or maybe this particular product is something that would work as an add-on. Let's say if there's a customer who is ordering roti and sabzi, uh, if I simply put papad or dahi, or maybe a buttermilk as an add-on, it is going to be very easy for a particular consumer to opt for that product. But then many times we fail to put or maybe act on those small decisions which would work in two better ways. It is a better customer experience, and it is a wholesome experience that you give to your customers, that it is a quick access for your customers. Second, it also increases your sales. It helps you upsell your products. So one thing is the best and least selling products. Another thing is, if what if somebody comes and tells you that this particular burger will go best with this particular french fries, or maybe this particular burger, or maybe this particular ice cream goes best with this particular other dessert that I have in my menu. It's like correlating your products and finding out best combos for your set of menu items. It becomes a lot more easier for you to offer products to your customers as a bundle, and which will also turn out to be a best selling product for you. So maybe these small things that you can take care of will help you in a far better way, and maybe in a longer run also you know that these are the things that you would want to focus on. One thing, a country like ours, which is like run by festivals, we are really fond of festivals, and then a major part of these festivals and these festivities is food, of course. So no festival is complete without the food. Let's say I really want to quote this as an example, that India versus Pakistan is coming up, World Cup is coming up, and then I've literally started hearing around those conversations that this is what we want to plan on India versus Pakistan, and then there are customers who are planning कि इंडिया वर्सेस पाकिस्तान में ये वाला मेन्यू ऑफर करेंगे, ये हम लोग कर सकते हैं. So it's like people start a lot in advance, and if you start talking about these things, festivals like Navratri, people go crazy in Navratri in locations like Ahmedabad, or maybe in locations like West region में जो locations है वहाँ पे people are crazy about these festivities, and I'm sure there are other religions and locations जहाँ पे बहुत सारी अलग चीजें भी uh, people, there are things that people would be able to relate to. So we really want you to know, jaise I've also attached a screenshot here, that how much contribution is it giving to your overall sales or maybe yearly sales, how much is the contribution for in a total year span, how much is the contribution of Diwali sales, how much is the contribution of any other particular festival sales, so that you exactly know that last year Diwali mein we had done something like this, and now this year we would want to focus on something like this. So it is going to be a lot more easier if you start focusing on these things and you exactly know that these are my action points. There are a lot of other data points which are included in the POS system, but then if we take it one thing at a time, I'm sure it is going to be a lot more easier. Another topic that I wanted to talk about was about table turnaround and outlet level productivity optimization. Okay, so I would want to quote an example. We recently got to interact with one of our clients, which is Jaipur based. We were interacting with them, and we were so really happy to realize that they were using one of our reports, which is called food preparation time report. So basically, they were looking at the report which takes care of your KOT preparation time. What they were thinking in their minds is they are able to prepare the food within 15 minutes, and that's what they were claiming to their customers also. But only after looking to their report, they could realize that 80% of their orders were not falling under the same criteria, and they quickly took it up and then passed on the same message to the chef and the kitchen preparation team, food preparation team, and within a span of 3 months they could achieve the target of, they could achieve that 80% of their orders were falling into the 15 minutes wala food preparation time. Very minor things, but then if you focus on these small things, it makes a huge impact. They said that their customers were happy. Also, they were able to cater to more customers because food preparation time was getting reduced, because they were quick in preparing food, they were quick in delivering food. So very minor things, but then I'm sure once you start focusing on these small things, and maybe once you decide that these are the two things that I want to focus on, it is going to be a lot more easier for you to gauge to uh, an outcome which is maybe impacting your business in a positive way. Another example would be like there are a lot of cloud kitchens and a lot of other QSRs that we keep looking at during rush hours. there's a lot of influx in terms of orders when you look at Saturday evenings or maybe Sunday evenings. People would want to order food from outside, but then we don't have delivery agents who can deliver our orders. So in that case, if at all I've looked at my data for maybe, let's say, past 1 month or past 1 quarter, I exactly know that these are the number of orders that we are getting. And if we increase maybe 2 people for weekend delivery, we'll be able to take more orders. So just let's say I'm taking 150 orders, but if I figure out that I'll be able to take 200 orders only by taking that decision that I have two more delivery agents, it is going to make a lot of impact on my business. I was happy taking 150 orders, but then I'm definitely going to be happier if I receive 200 orders now, and maybe even more if I strategize it in a particular way. And the third thing, it is about increasing your productivity. Everything is same. You have the same number of outlets. You have maybe if you have the same individual outlet, everything else remains the same. But then how do you increase the productivity of your employees? All the resources are same. All the menu items are same. But then how do you increase the productivity of your customers? Okay, how do you see the productivity of your employees? This is how it can help. Maybe you look at the captain performance report, or maybe you can look at the sales biller wise sales report. This helps you increase your productivity, and maybe you can incentivize your employees that yes, you have done a good job, you have done a lot of upselling, and you incentivize them. They are more keen towards working, and then they are more motivated towards working. So everything else is same. It's just one minor thing that you have started focusing, and it increases the productivity of your employees. So make very small details things. I've also attached a screenshot on the left side, that these are the type of categories with which you'll be able to look at the reports. Maybe order wise reports, item wise reports, category wise reports, employee wise reports. Maybe if you want to look at the reports discount wise, we also have an option where you'll be able to customize your report. So there are a lot of customers who keep asking for PNL report. Specifically want to see that this exactly is my expenses at this particular outlet, and this is my inflow. At the end of the day, I exactly know that this is my overall inflow, and this exactly is something that I'm taking home. So there are a lot of things like this that you also will be able to focus on. It's just that you keep focusing on one particular aspect. Maybe you come up with a pain point, and we'll be able to help you out with this is how you can go ahead. Or maybe any other reports. There are people who work on the reports which are useful only for add-ons, whether this add-on is working out or not. If I can experiment with my add-ons, because a lot of business happens through add-ons also. So very small minute things, but then helps you identify your pain points, and maybe helps you identify the growth that you are dealing with. So these are the basic two things that I wanted to focus on. While we talk about the way forward, the only thing that I would want to say is, like Shubhradeep has rightly mentioned in the first slide, maybe that there are two basic issues. How do we get the data, and where do we get the data on one platform? So Paid Puja will be able to help you out with a lot of data on one single platform. We are an open ecosystem. There are a lot of things that we have in our bucket, and we also have integrations with more than 150 partners, which will include loyalty systems, which will also include integrations with accounting softwares, and which will also include the integrations with third-party aggregators like Zomato, Swiggy. So you exactly know at the end of the day that this is the platform where you'll be able to look at the data. This is where you get your data. And how do you use it? Yes, there are a lot of options. There are a lot of categories that you just go through, and then you realize that, yes, this is what I want to focus on. These are the points that are going to be my focus areas for next quarter. So these are the points that I wanted to talk about. There are two new things that we are coming up with in order to make sure that it is a full ecosystem and a full circle that we create for our customers. One more thing is attendance management. We are coming up with an attendance management system, which through which you'll be able to look at the attendance report of your employees, even if you are a single restaurant or even if you are a chain. We will take care of all those possibilities, the shift timings, and the overall working hours. Even if there are transfers that are happening between the outlets, we'll be able to cater to those requirements as well. And of course, on a later stage, we'll come up with salaries and a lot of other things into the same system that we are building in. And the last thing for today's presentation would be something that we are coming up is kharcha. खर्चा. So I know it sounds like हम restaurants को खर्चा कराना चाह रहे हैं. No, it's not the same that you are thinking it. Kharcha basically is to make sure that you keep a check of your kharcha. So basically, kharcha takes care of any sort of purchases that you are making, and takes it is an expense management software basically. You take a picture of any invoice for uh, any picture of the invoice. It quickly takes it digitally and transfers it into the system with the digital mode, and then you can now transfer that data into Tally or maybe any other accounting software also. So the main agenda is, in today's time, when there are a lot of people who do not really do entries for their raw materials, for their purchases, you will now be able to simplify this process with a lot lesser efforts and more accuracy. So जहाँ पे मैन पावर का इन्वॉल्वमेंट आता है, we want to reduce those set of efforts. And when you look at the report, you will exactly know कि हाँ जुलाई मंथ में टमाटोज का रेट बहुत बढ़ा हुआ था, जो आज के तारीख में आई एम श्योर यू डोंट हैव अ रिपोर्ट जहाँ पे वो दिखाएगा कि हाँ टमाटोज का रेट इतना ज्यादा बढ़ गया था एंड दिस वाज द ग्राफ फॉर टोमेटोज. So these are the smaller things that we want to focus on. And maybe after a year, if you want to increase the price of your product, you exactly know that this is why I'm increasing the prices. You have a justifiable reason for increasing the prices of your products. So we really want to simplify the expense management for a lot of our customers. And I think that is it that I wanted to talk about. And I think we are open for questions now.
Thank you, Subro and Heli. That was really informative and a great introduction, I think, to how you can use what data is at your fingertips already, and grow your revenues, reduce expenses, address customer concerns. So that was really helpful, and I know that there's a lot more that we can sort of deep dive into each of these aspects. But for today, the idea was to give everyone an introduction to how this information is available to us, and we may not be using it already, and also what we can ask from our aggregator partners, and ensure that we're getting the most from them for all the commissions that we're paying as well. So Pradeep, okay, here we have a question here. I guess this is for Heli. Is it an offline POS?
So this is a cloud-based software, but then yes, it works offline as well.
Um, okay. And I actually had a question as well, so Pradeep, and maybe this is just it's more of an observation that once we get this data and we see how our business is performing, say the percentage of cancelled orders, new customers, repeat customers, what how do we know what the good benchmarks are for our industry or for our particular, whether you're a cloud kitchen, whether you're a restaurant business? Because obviously dine-in operations are very different metrics from cloud businesses. So where do we kind of start understanding what our targets should be that we work towards?
A good question, and I think this is something a lot of people have asked me. In fact, when we were raising our money, this was a question which a lot of investors had asked. So I think, and benchmarking is critical. And so, as you rightly said, Gauri, your dine-in vis-a-vis the delivery format, the repeat customer benchmarks vary. So, how do you do it? I think the easiest thing is to ask the Swiggy Zomato folks, because they will give you city level benchmarks, even hyperlocal cluster level benchmarks. There are, I know, okay, Indiranagar Kormangla has a particular benchmark, but Sarjapur will behave very differently, and say a Bandra in Bombay will behave very differently. But there's a city average in delivery business. Cuisine wise, also it varies. I mean, Asian cuisine has a particular benchmark versus a biryani will behave differently. But I think these platforms have is a gold mine of data, and the best way is पूछने में क्या जाता है, go and ask. So,
Yeah.
and they will give you all the data. I mean, that like if you look at in pure play consumer business, let's zoom out and think about say FMCG business and all. Anything about 25-30% repeat is a very good repeat. So, but in restaurants, especially in specialized cuisines, the repeat, obviously, intuitively thinking it will be higher. Those who are coming because you sell a very, very specialized cuisine, will obviously they are coming back. But so, to answer your question in one line, I think the the aggregators have gold mine. So we definitely need to ask them to get all the data cuts, keeping our offering in mind.
And I think, just speaking from my experience, I think also a good starting point is to just improve on your own performance, right? So,
True,
yes,
true.
because benchmarks have so many variables or criteria.
Variability. True, true.
And, it really, like every business is different, like you said, whether you're a niche cuisine or a more generic cuisine, etc. And so I think a starting point is just to improve on your own statistics, week on week or month on month, whatever is the frequency with which you're checking this
Exactly,
data.
exactly. And
I
are we
think
seeing an up? Are we seeing an upward trajectory on that? True, true.
I think there's another question for you. How many data points would you consider for customer experience, and what would they ideally be?
Well, okay, there's no critical optimal number to it, but I think if you have to start with just one or two, repeat customer is one thing that we you should definitely try and see, which is more like an outcome matrix. But then your ratings, item rating, but item rating, repeat customers, these are two data points which are more fundamental in nature. That's it's like which I gave the example which I gave. It's like body immunity. My sale may be good, but my repeat is not that great. So it will definitely bite us back very hard sometime soon.
And also complaints, right? Like I guess
Come
product
on.
complaints,
Correct.
service complaints, etc. So reviews on
Reviews,
platforms.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
correct.
There's a question from Rajkumar. Please, I guess this is for you, Heli. Please share the difference between Paid Puja Plus and Paid Puja Pro.
Okay, so both of these are bundled products, Paid Puja Plus and Paid Puja Pro. Paid Puja Plus has a bundle of 13 products, which will include a lot of products like Captain application, creating your websites, and taking orders via your website. And there are a lot more products. Paid Puja Pro will include one more product, which is customizing your reports. So if you have any requirements with respect to data points or any specific reports that you want to look after, we'll be able to cater to those requirements. And there is a segment called dynamic reports, and we'll be able to help you. We'll be able to help you create those reports in that section.
Thanks. There's a question from Toral, I guess. So, bro, this is an extension of what we were just talking about, but a very specific benchmark that she's asking about, which is what is a good benchmark for a delivery kitchen's dependence for customer acquisition via Zomato and Swiggy?
Well, this is $1 million question, and I think NRAI as a larger organization is also trying to solve it. But see, I don't know whether that's. I have a slightly contrarian view. I mean, till the time you have built your capability and your brand is as strong as a Domino's in the particular city that you are, do you really want to fight that game of acquiring customers through your own platform? So companies like DotPay, Thrive, and all are there, and our goal should be that can 10% of our delivery orders happen from DotPay or a Thrive. I mean, through your own channel, while the fulfillment is being done because all these are tech enabled. So whether it's a DotPay or a Thrive, your last mile fulfillment will be done by the Shadowfaxes and Dunzos of the world. So you really don't need to have a fleet of people who does the fulfillment. But beyond 10-12%, I think even some of the bigger brands, some of the jewels in the NRI family also haven't been able to crack it. So Domino's is the only exception where major part of their, I think more than 50% of their order comes from their own app and not through these aggregator platforms. So I would rather say yes, we build on it, focus on growing your own channel through giving those coupon codes. The best deal should always be there on Thrive and .pay and not on the aggregator platforms. But do you really want to go all out and do that? Because it's like fighting a battle which is very, very difficult. Rather focus on product consistency and ensuring that your dine-in mix grows. I have a slightly, I'm from that school of thought.
No, I think even from NRAI's perspective, it's not to say that don't use the benefits that Zomato and Swiggy provide to you, but like you said, that you should also have the alternative platforms available, and you should be present on your direct order. Have a direct order mechanism, and maybe for customer acquisition, tap into that network that exists, or that service that exists already, and maybe for repeat business,
Yes,
encourage people to move to your own platform.
I
So,
was.
you have to be smart about how you can use both things effectively for your business, and also understand that when like a business like Domino's, like Subro mentioned, I mean the scale is on a completely different level to a lot of our businesses. So I think recognize your sort of limitations, and yet slowly build that parallel system, so that as you grow as a business, you also have that grow side by side.
True. No, I think Gauri, you've mentioned the right point, which I should have mentioned, that target your repeat customers as the opportunity to convert to your own channel.
Yeah. There's a question about, I guess, Heli, this is for you. How can we clean up POS master data in quickest way, as the junk keeps on building in old outlets and it becomes too late once we understand the importance of data management?
So basically, it is a cloud-based software that I've mentioned earlier. If you are talking about outlet level data, and let's say if you want to remove it, it's just an email that you have to send us that this is the data that we want to remove. But otherwise, I don't think this should be an issue. But then you should definitely reach out to us if at all you are facing any other concerns, because ideally, for any such deletion, it's just a request that we need from the registered ID, and we'll be able to help you out.
Great. Toral has a follow-up question, that what's the benchmark that one should maintain for cost of channel, including taxes, advertising, deductions, discounts? I'm guessing this is the commission plus ad spends, etc. So, bro, this one, do you want to have a
Well,
stab?
no, I
Again,
think
another.
no, I think see, the benchmark will also depend on what's your AOV and what is the kind of top line that you are doing. Because for a higher AOV brand, uh, it will obviously be, you will have higher headroom to play with. But assuming this, your commission plus GST will be give or take 25 to 30%, plus discounts in larger scheme of things will be an additional uh, easily 12 to 15%. So just do different, it's trial and error, that on a particular month you increase the ad budget, see whether your new acquisition is increasing, your new trials, the top of the funnel is working better or not, and maybe in the next month you reduce it and see whether those customers who you had acquired last month, whether they are holding on or not. Is 50% of those customers, are they coming back or not? So there is no set formula to it. Ad is the lever, ad and discount together you'll have to play around and do different trial and error to arrive at the sweet spot. And the sweet spot is also a moving goalpost. It's not that it will, once you have cracked it, it will remain like that, because there are a lot of other external factors. Your competition will come, something else will happen. But between ad and discount, do those maths and try and analyze to arrive at what is working for you. And location by location, it will vary. But from an ads perspective, I think while Swiggy, Zomato will obviously push you that 10% of your business, of your GMV, you should spend on ads. But 5 to 7% is the money that you should allocate for your CPC based in-app promotion, anywhere between 5 to 7%.
Uh, Next question is again, Shubro, I guess for you. Speaking of analytics, how can we leverage CRM reports for our trend analysis and RFM?
I think Haley, you can add on, but I think so. They have. I mean, if I can tell about Paid Puja because that's what I'm using for the last 4 5 years. So you down and then there are a whole bunch of standard reports which are available, not the customized ones. And when
Right.
you download those and what I told about the bucket. So if it falls under the sales, when you're analyzing sales related trends, try and analyze it store level or weekday, weekend level or hourly level. So those are all there. So it depends upon on which bucket you want to target first and act
Right, and
accordingly.
there is a specific category with client-wise report. So, if you really want to target your customers and look at the data point with customer perspective, you get a lot of options also. So, once you, I think, have a look at this, you'll get more idea about what comparison do you want to make. Do you want to look at the repeat customers? Do you want to look at customers who target specific products? Or maybe customers who opt for specific products or maybe during specific duration. So you basically need to pick one point and then maybe the second point can come up.
Great. Lots of questions. If anyone else has any questions, this is your chance. Here, okay. What are the specific reports you look at on a weekly basis to track customer revenue and expenses? Shubro.
Well, see, on the customer front, one thing which we definitely track is the repeat new customers which Swiggy Zomato shares with us on a weekly basis, and I would like to highlight when I mentioned about one of the challenge that's not coming in one common dashboard, but that's a very very critical thing which we track: repeat versus new revenue, all the normal sales reports that we analyze. And on the expenses, I think food cost is a number which we track on a weekly basis. Within food cost, the top 6 items which are the most expensive SKUs in our bill of material, that we try and track on a daily basis, but food costs we track on a weekly basis. And discount redemptions at a coupon code level also, we try and do it at a weekly basis. Hope that answers, but there's no set formula to it. I mean, it depends upon it will vary from business to business, outlet to outlet.
Great. I think we had another question, which is how many reports can Pet Puja generate?
So basically, if you go to the report section, there are more than 80 reports which are available for you, which will fall into like 6 or 7 categories. So there are already all the sets of reports that you would need to evaluate your business. And there is another section which is called dynamic reports, jahan pe there are 8 standard categories that we have created, which would include item wise and uh, product wise. So the same customer wise and festival analysis. So you get all the other sets of data, jahan pe you have much more options available with you, like many more options available. So that's about it.
There's a question from Shri Kumar. Like sometime we enter the repeat guest name and we get details of his last order to understand his choice. Okay, I guess that's more a comment. Um, for Paid Puja, is your software an ERP software? I'm asking because you talked about integration with third-party software, including accounting, HR, management, etc. This suggests it's not an ERP module.
So basically, it is not a core ERP module that I would say, but then yes, we do have an option to cater to your inventory. And we also integrate with other ERP softwares. So it basically integrates with accounting softwares like Tally or Zoho Accounting, and it integrates with inventory systems like Supply Note. But then we do have our own inventory system available with us.
Great. Anyone has any more questions? This is your chance to pick Subro and Heli's brains. Okay. I think we're done with questions. So great. Thank you so much, both of you. That was really helpful insight. So, bro, thank you for sharing your experience with data analytics, but also real examples from your business. And Heli, of course, for showing what paid puja's capability is. I'm sure we can spend a lot more time on that. So which we will in the upcoming sessions as well. You can download and view this presentation on the NRAI website at www.nrai.org. We'll be holding more sessions like this every month. So please stay updated on NRAI's social media handles, and you'll hear about the next session coming up. Thank you to everyone for attending.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Gauri. Thank you, Shubhradeep. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.